Okay, so for the fork choice, I went with, because I got a discount on the frame, I went with a little pricier fork. I was looking at a lot of different options. Obviously Fox 38, RockShox Zeb were there. I looked at Olin's, looked at a lot of different stuff. But then I found that Push had released this coil fork. It's the PUSH 9.1. So I'm going to give my review of the 9.1. First, I will say very different, very unique in its looks, very beefy. It is an inverted fork. So your travel is in the lower, almost like a motorcycle, lower end here versus having it up high. Um, unique ride to it. Very sensitive, very plush fork. There were some challenges, I would say, that I did not expect. So first one I will talk about is Push has this little brake cable guide. They have installation videos on their website for that. I thought they could have been done a little bit better. They were a little goofy there, but I figured it out. It wasn't terribly hard. Then you have these sort of plastic covers to protect the lower stanchions. I'll admit, they seem a little flimsy. I haven't taken any hits on them, fortunately, yet. Maybe a little scratch right here. I'm just a little concerned to see if they'll hold up when you hit the ground. But so far, I've not done that. One of the things that I wasn't expecting, so installation of the front tire. Installation of the front tire, you have this axle that comes through here, and then it has another bolt on the other side. So you need a tool on either side when you're installing it. But one of the unique things to it is you also have these little bolts, which have to be torqued, I believe, to 5 Newton meters when you're installing it. So you need a pretty good set of tools to put it out. My old Ripmo, I had a through axle with just a quick release, so I could get the wheel on and off in seconds, which I loved. I was thinking of getting another one, but I don't think that's possible with the PUSH 9.1 fork. So getting the wheel on and off, little bit of a pain. Obviously torquing some of these down when you're close to the rotor and stuff like that doesn't give you a ton of room to do that. So I haven't had a trail side tire issue yet. I'm wondering if I need to carry maybe a few more tools in the pack than I would normally carry just in case I run into that. But big fan. You've got down here, somewhere down here, I believe you've got under here, you've got your rebound adjustment. Something there. And then you've got your high and low speed compression up here. And I'm not going to go through the technology that the fork's got. That's all over their website. But when during the travel while you're riding, something else that was a little unique is I found that there was a kind of a hissing, like a noise, as the shock would go through its travel a little bit. And there's air, I believe, that releases out of here as it goes through a travel. On the other side of that fork, you also have little release valve for releasing some air pressure. Now, when I ordered the fork, they ask you what bike it's going to go on, your rider weight and stuff like that. And they do send the fork out kind of preset, I believe, to what they think your ideal settings should be. I adjusted a little bit, high and low speed compression. It's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, just like screws. As far as more or less compression, I actually had to confirm that with them. Just wanted to make sure. I couldn't really feel it when I made the adjustments as far as just pushing it, but I wanted to make sure I was doing that right, so they emailed me back. Other comments I have on the process, I think they must have had a little issue when I ordered it. It definitely took a while to get the fork. And I emailed them they weren't as responsive as I would have liked initially to the inquiries through their website. But when I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks in, when I inquired, where's the fork? I think what they were doing is they were correcting some issues that they may have found that the fork had when it first came out. And so I haven't had a single issue with it. It rides great. Overall, very, very impressed with the fork. Now that I have gone through that, I'm going to talk about what I most recently added to the bike. So after having ridden the coil front fork, I really wanted to try, because I'd never ridden a coil rear shock. And Revel recommends, if you're going to run a coil on this bike, that you run a push. And so I thought it'd be nice to match up my Colorado-made push fork with my Colorado, maybe not made, but company's bike, with another Colorado-made rear shock in the PUSH ElevenSix. And I will say this shock is very good, especially matched with the fork. I'm big fan. I've got 3 rides in it now, which I know isn't a ton, but very good. So they spec these shocks and they build them to the frame, just like the fork, specific to rider weight, rider style, all of those kinds of things that you put in when you order the shock. And then it comes out and it's got a little card where they've preset everything. So really all I had to do was take off that old, not old, but the original RockShox shock and bolt this sucker on. No tuning, no adjusting, nothing. It was very, very simple to do. So that was a cool thing. First ride impression. I wanted to do something I ride commonly that's a little bit, I would say, bump intensive, but requires some climbing to get it. So I could track some things on Strava just to see if there was any differences there. So first thing, interestingly enough, I did a couple of laps with it. This is the wide open. So you got a close and a wide, and they have settings on a card for both of these. I call it a climb switch, but I think you can use this not just for climbing based on what they've said. But anyway, I rode it wide open up and down the first lap. Great, felt great, loved it. Very responsive, very bump sensitive, both low and high speed. Very interesting. So then I wanted to ride at least the up part with the shock in the more firm or lockout or whatever you want to call it position. And I could definitely feel that it was much more firm in the climbing than wide open. Not that this was bad when it was in the open position, but I could feel the firmness. The interesting thing was, after I finished the ride, though, I went and looked at times. Now, I'm on the older end. I'm getting close to 50. I'm not riding the fastest times on anything anymore than I used to in general. But what I found is both up and down, whether it was in this position, well, especially up when it was in this position, I actually, and I wasn't going any harder than I would normally try to go, but in the same day ride, I was riding faster by more than a minute in a good 30-minute climb. And so that was pretty cool. I would have thought I would have been fatigued or whatever, but I definitely felt that I was climbing better with it like this. Now, I wasn't going as hard as I could go on the downhill. I was actually sort of taking it a little bit easy because I was having a little trouble keeping some air in my rear tire for some reason. Anyway, I set a fastest time on the downhill that I had on a track I'd run called Section 16 in Colorado Springs that I had done in, I think, 3 or 4 years. I was shocked, not pun intended. I was very surprised that I was about 30 seconds faster going down with it open, of course, than I had been in quite some time. So, big fan of these two together. I have found that, I mean, the front shock just absolutely eats up, especially like brake bumps, things like that. I've had a chance to take the bike out as built on, like I said, about 400 miles now, and wonderful. It's been a great bike. So yeah, if you're looking for a good front and rear combo, I'm a fan of the push shocks.